This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on this Tuesday on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You're hanging out with us on the Bama Central YouTube channel, or you're checking us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon. We're also on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither6, and we hope you're having a great day as the Alabama basketball team is once again victorious. We're going to talk Alabama basketball. We're going to talk Alabama in the polls tonight. College football playoff poll starts week number 2. Happens tonight. And then we will finish with a little Alabama in the NFL. We're going to do all that right here on the Joe Gaither Show. We're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. You can find us just off McFarland Boulevard, past the Tiger Rock on the left. Call Derek and his team, 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. I was wearing the hat because it was a bad hair day, but we're just going to just roll with it. You can call Derek Daniel for all your insurance needs. Call Derek and see how much he can save you today. Gonna have a lot of fun. We got our friend Mason Woods once again in the house. You can follow him at MAWoods_. Mason, how we doing today? Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, doing good. Bama won last night, so I can't really complain about much. I got to see a pretty good Monday night football game. It started off slow, but wound up being a pretty decent game by the end. So all things.
Monday night football for you, not Monday Night Raw?
No,
that's what I was up to.
Monday Night Raw. You keep mentioning it. I will have to tune in one of these weeks. Maybe when there's just a game that you can tell is going to be a really bad Monday night game, I'll just flip on over to Raw one of these nights.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I was in Coleman, and then I got home, and that's what I ended up putting on my TV before I went to bed. Mm-hmm. Let's start with Alabama basketball. You go into game number 3 against McNeese State, against Will Wade, and the student section did a decent job. I give them a B+. It wasn't as packed as the first 2 games, and really the crowd wasn't as packed as the first 2 games. Y'all know that I got ripped on Twitter last week about the crowd, but let's be honest, last night's crowd was not good enough. 6 o'clock tip. I know, 6 o'clock tip, very, very, very difficult. Monday day, you probably had a big weekend. Maybe a lot of you came back from Baton Rouge. I understand. I volunteered to work last night because one of our team members was on the Baton Rouge trip, and they're like, it might be better. And I said, I've been sitting in Tuscaloosa all week. I'd love to all weekend. Sure, I'll work for you Monday night. It's no problem.
They can make up for it with a good showing throughout the rest of the week.
Right. Of course. It's going to be a minute before they get back into Coleman Coliseum, right. I think, because the next game is at Purdue, and then you've got you're going to have the
this stretch coming up
CM Newton Classic Roll Tide. Let me see if I can't find that as I continue here. But yeah, it wasn't good enough last night, crowd-wise. And I know you obviously have the 6 o'clock tip, makes it tough. The Monday after a big game, a big road game where you're, you've done a lot of driving this past weekend, I'm sure. And then not to mention the parking situation this year is just hellacious. It's not good. Mason, you were there with me on the first night. Last night, it was it was smooth, but it was still just a pain in the neck coming down University at 5:30. Because I'm wanting to get in there. Well, I was coming down to University at 4:45. Trying to get in there at 5 o'clock. And it's just nasty.
It feels like maybe just nobody really anticipated how much all the construction was going to back things up, and I don't want to say they weren't prepared, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't anticipate the crowds that they've gotten. Obviously, last night wasn't as great, but the first 2 games were pretty large crowds.
What do they put on the game notes for the crowd?
That's hopefully by the end of the season that gets cleaned up a bit, because this construction is not going to end anytime soon. So
no, I mean, we're building behind Coleman Coliseum, so it's on. It is on. That parking lot A is now cut into by 2/3, really. And so they blocked off parking lot A, and kicked everybody down to the law school lot and kicked everybody down to the parking deck, and that's okay. It's just I feel like they need to have just a little bit better traffic flow getting to the parking
getting in
deck.
and out. Getting in and out is a little tough because even I remember, going into the first game, you try to come over the bridge there off 15th Street coming on to Paul Bryant, and you pull up and you can't go this way. You got to loop all the way back around, circle back to University, come back down that way. It's just why do we have this big fancy bridge there if you can't use it? I don't really understand sometimes why they do the things the way that they do them.
ESPN reported 13,474. I do not think that's accurate. If I had to guess, it's not on the game notes yet. But if I had to guess, 10K, right at 10, not 9, which was fine. It wasn't a bad crowd. Absolutely not a bad crowd. I was thinking about it earlier this morning. I thought average. It was an average crowd. It was an average crowd. Obviously, look, I want every seat to be filled because I'm a crazy person. I know that is a impossible standard. All right. So on the floor, Alabama wins 72-64. And
never complain about a win, but
yeah, not a great performance. You got to give McNeese State a lot of credit. They slowed the game down. How many total possessions? I think there was only 60-something possessions. Isn't that a stat right here in stat broadcast? But Coach Oates talked about it. That McNeese slowed it down. He said that they were in the 80s in possessions with the other exhibition games in first two games. I think he said they were there at 65, 66 possessions in this game. So it slowed them down. Well done, McNeese and Will Wade. And I do think McNeese, we're going to see them flirt with the top 25. I didn't realize this before I kind of studied up on them, but they received top 25 preseason AP poll votes. And Coach Oates basically said if there was a mid-majors poll, they would be a top 5 mid-major. Arkansas State as well. He said both of those those mid-majors he thinks are going to be top 5 mid-majors this season. So, okay, respect the opponent. Maybe say that McNeese a little better than we expected, but still some trends not really making me happy. The first one and the main one, free throw shooting. You made 17 of 24, 71% is just not good enough as a team. I know you can't be 100%. That's a wild ask. That's not going to happen. But 80, 82, 83% should be your goal as a team.
You need to average right in that, not in the 70s.
So that's an extra, cut 2, 3, 4 points right there. If you're averaging 80%, what would that have been? Probably 19 of 24, 18 of 24, 18 or 19 of 24. Probably only a couple of more makes. 20 of 24. I bet you would have been.
The point is, they're right there. I mean, you hammer, you focus on it a little bit. I don't know what the
20
what the guidelines or what the
20 out of 24 is 83%.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what a Nate's practice looks
19,
like day to day.
Two more points. There's a 10-point spread, but you're still comfortable.
Maybe moving, this is a point of emphasis over the next little bit moving forward. I mean, I'm sure free throws is not a thing you're really going into the season thinking about working on. I'm sure it's an off-season thing for the most part, but you got to get this better. It is free points.
Turned the basketball over 15 times in the game, and that's not a horrid number, but it's not good. You want to stay really 10 or less.
Get in that 10,
8
to 12, 9. I'd be all right with.
Right. So that's not good. But really and truly, the offense, and Coach Oates talked about this after the game, was just stagnant, just kind of standing around, especially in the second half. You only scored 31 second half points. You lost the second half. The offense was just really, really stagnant in the second half. Now, defensively, you tell me, it held them to 64 points. But I go to visitor stats and I see points per possession and I see 0.941 and I think, that is not that good.
No, I mean, I think the only thing that kept McNeese from scoring more points is just that they didn't get the ball more. It was not Bama's defense stopping them from scoring. It was just limited amount of possessions.
Cliff and Aiden did a good job keeping them away from the rim. That was very evident. And a lot of McNeese baskets were in that 16, 15-foot range, but just over Cliff and Aiden's hands. So you give them credit for that. But yeah, winding the shot clock down and taking a tough two and making a tough two, getting some offensive rebounds. I got 12 offensive rebounds. That remains to be a little problem for Alabama clearing the defense. It's not a stop until you have the basketball in your hands. They can miss the shot. They can miss any shot you want. You can get the shot clock down to 0.25 and they can heave up a shot and it hits the iron. It's not a stop until you get the basketball in your hands. You have to clear the defensive glass.
Yeah, it's like I said, I can't complain about a win. A win is a win. They're 3-0. But there are some disappointing trends that are maybe emerging a bit over these 3 games.
How about
the first game felt great. The first game was an excellent performance, I really think, pretty much all around. I don't think there was a whole lot we took out of that game that we didn't like. Maybe the free throw shooting was about it. Second game, fine, but some things start to emerge a bit, and then now it seems like, okay, this is maybe the worst of the 3 games they've played, and they're going into the hardest part of the non-conference schedule, so I'm a little worried.
All right, how about this? What if I told you, what if I'm a big-time Kool-Aid drinker and I said, these last couple of games, look, you're trying to work back in Grant. You're trying to work back in Latrell. You're trying to figure out your lineups. You haven't been playing with these guys available to you in preseason. You haven't been able to experiment with Aiden Sherrill in your lineup, so how he fits. So these first 3 games have all been kind of a NATO's experiment per se.
Yeah, and I think there's maybe some merit to that. I don't think that's the complete explanation for maybe the performance we got last night, because you said it yourself. Watching it, you can kind of see some of the deficiencies out there at certain points of the game.
They're slow.
Deficiency maybe is the wrong one, because I don't think this team is deficient anywhere, but just maybe a lack of attitude instead of the correct attitude.
Not a great edge last night to me.
And sure, there's definitely some merit, because the 3 games we've seen, I think, 3 different lineups now. So, and obviously last night was a lot more of Grant really working back in, and I mean, he had 22 points, so I'd say he worked back in pretty well. And sure, I'll give you a little bit. I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid, though. I still am a little concerned about this team giving a full effort for a full game.
That's what's going to irritate me right there, is we're so talented. Are we plugged in on both ends of the floor? I think that I think the effort was there last night. I just don't know if the focus was there. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I mean, I don't ever want to say that these guys aren't going out there and trying.
Sure,
they're going out there and trying their hardest.
Yes.
But yes, the focus being there, being fully locked in onto what you're doing tonight, playing McNeese State, playing Will Wade, and not, oh, we got Illinois coming up. Oh, we got Purdue coming up. Oh, or whatever else they're focusing on. I definitely think there's a little bit of that there, because you can see it a little bit. You said it, the offense looks stagnant at times because guys maybe aren't paying attention to where they can be moving to. Yeah.
Ball's not moving, ball's getting stuck on a player.
In the system, you need to constantly be thinking, all right, what's my next move? Where can I go? Where can I cut? Where can I, how can I get the ball closer to the basket? And yeah, there was definitely a lot of moments last night. Well, maybe not a lot, but some
there were
for sure.
To me, yes.
Where it just looked like guys were waiting for someone
else. Waiting
for
Mark to do something. Waiting for Aiden to do something. Waiting for LeBaron to do something.
You can make plays without the ball in your hand. You don't have to be holding the ball to go make a play. You can move around, you can cut, you can set screens, you can do all kinds of things without the ball in your hand to help the offense move smoother.
All right, so let's go to the positive, because it's not. Look, Alabama won the basketball game.
Yeah,
but it's just going to be tougher roads ahead. So that's why I'm feeling a little bit not so positive. But there was a lot of there were some positives last night.
Very happy with
Grant comes out and picks up right where he left off in the second half against Arkansas State, where he is asserting himself. What he scored 12 for second half. I think he scored 12 second half points against Arkansas State. He comes out in the first half. I think he scores 16 of his 22 in the first half. And it was really, and truly, it should have been more of this bleep. It should have been so much more of just, look, Grant, we're throwing the ball into you at the post. Back your butt down into somebody and just get your baby hook right over. I mean, it should have been so much more of that. Yeah. But I think that Grant's still working his way back in. Didn't want to say, "Hey, give me the dang basketball." Didn't, and just wanted to kind of play in the flow, because it was in the flow. His action and his points came kind of pretty. It wasn't forced, but he was the only one really trying to make some things happen, really, in the first half, to me, in my opinion. And he was all over.
Like you said earlier, for him, especially being someone who was
out for
a while. Yeah. For him being someone who was out for a while, like, these are guys, a lot of the guys on the floor, who he really genuinely has not spent a lot of time playing with. It's not like this team looks very different than they looked last year. So it's not like you can just say, "Oh, well, he played with them last season." He played with Mark last year, and Jaron Stevenson.
And Mo. Sometimes off the bench.
Occasionally. So he's, that chemistry is still not there. And that is definitely a clear thing, definitely a point to where he maybe can't just, "Hey, give me the damn ball. Let me just run the floor for a bit. Let me figure, I got this. I'm hot. Feed the hot hand." He maybe didn't quite have that relationship with a LeBaron Philon or a Cliff, or not Cliff, but, Aiden Holloway. So I'm very happy to see that he got his 22 points, but just keep feeding him. I mean, he's 6 for 9, and he's 6 for 9 from the field. Got to the line, shot 10 free throws, made 8 of them. So great game.
Second half, still on the positive. Latrell Wrightsell, 12 second half points, 4 of 7 from behind the arc. He's 5 of 9 on the whole night from behind the arc. All his points coming off 3-point shots. Nate Oates said in the postgame, "I wish he would have shot more." And again, same sort of thing, just like Grant. Off an injury, didn't play in preseason. You find he goes, what, 2 of 13 from 3, 2 of 13 in the first 2 games combined. He's 1 of 4, and then he was 1 of 9. I think he's 1 of 4 against Asheville, and then 1 of 9 against Arkansas State. So not good.
Looking at the stat sheet and saying, "Dang,
not good." But here, boom. 5 of 9. Yeah. So this is back to the Latrell that we want to see. And Coach Oates says, "Okay, yeah, I think that really, you get a guy who's a little rusty. Sometimes it takes him a second to figure out where his shot is on the floor."
And I think when he's hitting shots like he was last night, keep feeding him and let him get more shots. I do wish he had shot more. He only got, he put up 9 threes. That's a lot of threes, but if you're making them, keep shooting.
He was Oates. The number he threw out was he said 10, 11, 12.
That'd be bad. That'd be cool with that.
He said, "Oh, you get him." I said, actually,
that gives him another.
I think he goes, "Oh, if you're 11, 12, 13.
That presumably, if he is shooting at this rate, gives him another probably 2 makes,
2 or 3. Yeah.
So that's 6, 9 points potentially.
Right. So the offense just needs a little more. Look, the talent is obviously there. I'm not poo-pooing any of the talent. Yeah. And I think the effort was fine, was a good effort. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was a championship effort. I think it was a good enough effort. The guys were definitely trying. I don't want to insinuate that wasn't the case. I just think that, just like football, look, man, things take time. Yep. Things are going to take time to gel. You are working a lot of new pieces, and then in the process of working in those new pieces, some of those pieces come off your table, and then you're reworking in new pieces.
It's an ever-evolving process, and it was never going to all be figured out by game 3. So just be patient with the Crimson Tide. They are good enough to where, God forbid, if they have an off night, this team is talented enough to where they probably will be okay in a lot of games.
Yeah.
So just take a deep breath. It's going to be all right.
You nervous? Alabama down to number 10 in KenPom. You know who's number 1 in KenPom? KenPom national champions.
I don't think I want to know what you're about to say.
Yeah. Those turds.
That's a good win. So I got to say, good win for Auburn against Houston, especially considering the circumstances surrounding the trip to that game and all the hoopla about that. I don't know the details of all. I still don't really know exactly what happened. From what I understand, two players got into a physical altercation on the plane.
I think there was some
And it
clothes
was
ripped.
bad enough to the point where they said, although we are halfway to Houston, we're going to turn this plane around and go all the way back and drop them off and leave them here and then go back to Houston. So I don't think it was a quick little scrap. I think there maybe was a pretty serious fight between two players if it was bad enough to have them divert the plane all the way back and do this all over again. So, maybe Auburn basketball is about to get messy this year. We'll see.
We'll see. It's Alabama playing Purdue on Friday. Purdue number 12 in Kimpom. So going to be stepping up a lot in competition. Going to be a lot of fun. What's next? Let's let's do that. We are going to tell you about our friends at Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for all of life's storms. You can check them out online today at roofturtle.com. What we are going to do next is talk about the college football playoff poll. And to do that, I should probably pull up a poll here. Let's see. Here we go. That's what I want right there. Standings. We don't care about the AP poll. I mean, I guess we do just a little bit. Alabama with the most wins in the AP poll, sitting at what? Number 11 last week in the college football playoff poll. Let's get rid of that KenPom tab. Let's get rid of that Alabama basketball tab. We'll clean these bad boys up just a little bit. All right. There.
So we got losses to Georgia, losses to Miami. That's two teams ahead of Alabama right there that are sure to be falling this week.
Yeah, but see, Miami's gonna still some ACC team is gonna be a 4.
SMU is 8-1. I don't think they're gonna throw them all the way up there, but I also don't necessarily know that you can keep Miami there after losing to Georgia Tech. So it puts them in a weird spot with the way that they've done this.
Right, because you have ACC is a perfect example, just like you just hit. But the Big 12 as well. BYU, you're 9-0, great. You're sitting there number 7 in the AP poll, great. If you keep winning, they make perfect sense to throw in the top 4. But if there's any way in the world that Colorado at 7-2 keeps winning, let's see, can BYU end up losing a couple games and dropping? Let's see. Yeah, BYU has Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston. So that's 3 conference games, right? Yeah. Houston, Arizona State, and that's 3 conference games. You lose 2 of them. You're in a 3-way tie with Colorado and Iowa State. Now, you did not play Colorado. So what does that end up doing? Do you take Colorado? Obviously, I guess the Big 12 is going to play their championship game. They'll figure that out. Does Colorado jump up?
In there?
I
tell you, I would not want to face Colorado. If I was BYU, I would be hoping and praying that Iowa State is the team that makes it, because Colorado is playing good football. They're hot. The Buffaloes are rolling.
The Buffs. Shador, baby. Travis Hunter. Quiet.
Perfect timing.
Everybody's gone quiet on them, and now that they're winning, everybody wanted to talk about Dion and him being trash. But now that they're winning, bowl eligible, he's not gonna make a bowl. They're gonna go 4 wins. Maybe that was me. Oh, that might have been me.
I did not anticipate much from them this season. I knew last year, obviously. Anybody that was betting on Colorado to win a championship last year, you're categorically insane. It was the stupidest thing I ever heard, was anyone talking about them being a college football playoff team. Anyone that knew even a little bit about football knew they were going to be bad last year. But this year, they had some hope, and I was very much not in that camp of, oh, Colorado will be good. No, I thought they would be really, really terrible. And boy, am I wrong.
All right, so let's keep it moving here. Let's just try to figure this out because based on the AP poll, if you took the AP poll and just plastered it over, Oregon 1, Texas 2, Texas 2, 3, BYU 3, and Miami 4. And then you come back and you get Ohio State 5, Penn State 6, Indiana 7, Tennessee 8, Notre Dame 9, Alabama 10, Ole Miss 11, Boise State 12. How you feel about that? Georgia out.
Yeah, that's crazy, but it is what it is. I don't know what to tell you. Georgia, you had losses that came at bad times.
So painful.
You take one on the chin to Bama early, and then you lose one that you just absolutely could not lose to Ole Miss. It is what it is. I don't love Indiana being as highly ranked as they are, just because I still don't. My entire opinion of Indiana rides on what they do against Ohio State.
That's this weekend, right?
Yes. So
11 a.m. Of course,
we will find out one way or another what the Hoosiers are. I do think they're a solid team. I think if they lose this weekend, they have to be out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well,
I think
they got to fall. You got to drop a lot. You can't be up at 5.
They have to be out. I think you can't make the playoff with that resume. That resume is such a joke.
Well, you're going to get several Big Ten teams in it. Oregon, Ohio State, you're in. Penn State, likely in. And then Indiana right there, 4.
And Georgia needs to be in. Georgia, come on. I mean, this is ridiculous. I love you, Indiana. Kurt Signetti, it's a great story. You didn't play anybody. You set the schedule up, Indiana. I don't know. Sorry, play better teams. I don't know. Georgia played better teams. They beat some of the better teams. Georgia, with 2 losses, has a better resume than Indiana does. If their only losses to Ohio State, which is the only real team they played all year.
That's crazy.
That's what I would do.
Indiana, check them out.
I think if Indiana loses, they should be out.
Western Illinois, UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern Nebraska, Washington. Here we go. Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, Purdue.
You have one quality game on that schedule.
Michigan. That Michigan win.
Michigan sucks.
That's a helmet win. That's a good helmet win.
They got a couple helmet wins. Yeah,
Nebraska's a great helmet win. Sure. Michigan State and Washington.
Schedule, that their resume is awful.
That's disgusting. You're right because
I mean, I would put
Nebraska nearly beat Ohio State, and they beat the brakes off of Nebraska 56-7.
Sure,
they're gonna beat Ohio State.
If they do, then I'm all my respect to you, Indiana. You deserve to be.
What happens to Ohio State then? Let's see.
Their resume is pretty bad. They lose
Akron, Western
their
Michigan,
game to Oregon.
Yeah,
Akron. You got to win over Penn State.
Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall, Michigan State, Iowa, loss at Oregon, and you win versus Nebraska, Penn State, Purdue. You've got Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan. So the Indiana game is next week.
So yeah, if we're looking at it this way, you've got 2 top 10 losses and 1 top 10 win.
Indiana's got you're giving Signetti a bye before that too. They're gonna beat the brakes off off the Buckeyes.
I think that if that becomes Ohio State's second loss of the season, that should be a disqualifier for them. Personally. I know
because you're going to get Indiana, Oregon in a Big Ten championship game. That'd be sick. Because you want to talk about not playing anybody. We beat Ohio State.
Now, what happens if Indiana wins the Big Ten?
Number 1,
and then Oregon slots in at 5 there.
Yeah, if you spank Ohio State, and then you continue on. What was the rest of their schedule? You spank Ohio State and Purdue, and then you play Oregon in. Is it Las Vegas? Is that where they're playing? Are they playing in Indianapolis? Is that where they're playing? The Big Ten championship game has been in Indianapolis a lot.
Lucas Oil.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Indiana in Lucas Oil Stadium ain't going to turn off.
That would be crazy.
It's going to be a sea of red. Welcome to Lucas Oil Stadium.
That's what I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in you, Indiana, right now. But prove it to me. Show me what you got.
All right, two more minutes left on the show, and we want to tell you that we are proud to be in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. You can call Derek Daniel at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Real quick, we want to wrap it up with Bama in the NFL because I got to run to the facility and talk to some Alabama football players. That's going to be great. You can see that on the BamaCentral YouTube channel in just a little while. John Mechie coming back from cancer,
Finally
getting the touchdown reception. It was a decent week for Bama in the NFL, but that's the best story to me. What was his official numbers? Let me see. Right, rushing, receiving, right there. John Mechie, 6 targets, 5 catches, 74 yards. 25-yard was as long with a touchdown catch. His touchdown catch was a 15-yard pass from C.J. Stroud to extend the Texans' lead to 23-7.
And he did hit the kick after. It was pretty sweet. I'm very happy for Mechie. He was someone I loved him at Alabama. I loved him even more after he got drafted. We really thought he would turn into being a pretty solid. He was never going to be a team's wide receiver 1. Everybody knew that, but I always thought he was going to be a really solid, second, third option somewhere. And seems like maybe he's finally developing into that.
All right, so let me tell you about a sports invention we need to implement in football.
What we got? $1 million
the quarterback sky hook, right? So you got the camera, the sky camera that's going over that's showing you all the cool angles. But what you need, and we're doing this for you, Tua. This is for you specifically, Tua. The Dolphins need to be the first team to implement this, but every team will eventually implement this once they figure out that the quarterback is far too valuable to be having them make tackles on interceptions or fumbles or turnovers. Tua Tagovailoa puts his head down, tries to make a tackle, gets struck. Oh, you got so many head issues, my man.
It was like
you're so lucky.
Teach tape of, hey, bud, this is what you don't do when you try to tackle somebody.
I know that. I'm pretty sure Jay Cutler broke a hand doing it. Some like quarterbacks. Look, so you get it just hovers over the quarterback, and if there's a turnover, what it does, it just comes down and just grappling hooks the quarterback out of the play. He's zoop. You're done. Sorry, you now
places him gingerly into a crib on the sideline.
You now have to defend the turnover with 10 men. Sorry about it, bud.
What if we get to throw an 11th guy out there? You send a guy off the sideline.
That'd be great. Yes, he's like on the last. He's like at the end of the box, at the end of the defensive box.
You have to send your kicker out there, and that gets him extra practice on learning how to tackle.
Oh,
people.
Shoot, no, not the kicker, but you got a safety who's just on the end, who's like, hey man, you are always got to be alert.
3-point stance.
Exactly.
On the sideline.
Just in case it's a turnover, we're sky hooking the quarterback out of here.
Here he comes.
And you're playing safety on the pick. It would make the knots a little bit harder, non-offensive. Getting past that last guy.
Yeah, you say he's got to be within, say, like from 40 or 35 to 35 in the middle of the field.
I think that's what the box is.
Yeah,
on the sideline.
Yeah, so he's got to be within. He can't get any deeper one way or the other, and you just tell him, you line up and go, buddy. I would love this because Tua, you have to. Look, I know you're playing football. You want to stop a potential touchdown from happening. You got to just eat it, man. You threw the pick. Game play's over. You are not in a position to go try to make tackles. You have suffered far too many severe brain injuries up to this point in your career.
Just taking the sit Indian style.
Walk over there and talk to Mike. Get your Microsoft Surface pad and just watch it. Figure out what you did wrong.
Surrender Cobra.
God,
hands up, don't shoot. Whatever you want to. Like whatever it takes, man.
And if you're gonna try to tackle somebody, I just want to see Tua do like a baseball slide into his legs. Just slide feet first.
Oh my gosh!
Just drop down to your butt and you just slide off and just hope you hit them.
Just drop kick them. Just run
there
up
we
and
go.
Drop kick.
Just I don't know. Tua, stop trying to make tackles. Preferably stop trying to run the ball even because your slides look pretty ugly. Just sit back there, dump the ball off to Jaden Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham. Apparently, he had some catches last night. That was crazy. And just enjoy the next few years of your NFL career.
That'll do it for us on the show today. Unless you got any other NFL notes you want to hit.
That's about all I got.
Yeah, pretty light week
pretty
for
quiet week.
Bama in the NFL. Derrick Henry scoring a touchdown. Jalen Hurts with 4 touchdowns. Great for you.
Yeah, Trayvon Diggs did have one very nice interception in that Eagles-Cowboys game, but that was about the only thing you can say about the Cowboys.
Bama on Bama crime. We'll get out of here for the day. Check us out on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on Amazon, the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. We appreciate everybody who's watching us. We appreciate everybody who's following my friend Mason Woods at MAWoods_. You can find me at Joe Gaither 6 on your favorite social media machine. And we'll find you tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.